morning. Welcome to Stretch with Dave. I'm your host, David Caperd, to teach you Stretch with Dave. Today we need a resistance band. We also need a couple of couch cushions. And these are going to be used to prop our knee up during the open books. And then you can also use them to kneel for the half kneel hip flexor stretch. Most of our stretches today are done on the ground, so just make sure you have a nice clear space. We do have a new one with the dynamic pigeon. If you want an alternate during that exercise because it is a little bit more difficult for you, you can just go with your seated pigeon pose where you sit on a chair, cross your leg forward, lean forward. But I thought I would throw in one that's a little different, a little bit more challenging today to give you a little bit more variety, a little bit more in your toolbox of stretches that help you sort of not feel so rigid or stiff throughout your day. So we are going to start just lying on the ground with our figure four. Oh, and if you don't have a resistance band, you can always use a towel for the band hamstring stretch. So lying on the ground, what I do is I cross my left leg over my right, bring my right knee towards my chest, left hand goes to the hole, right hand on the outside. I grab my right leg and pull my right knee towards my chest, and keep your head flat on the ground. A lot of people like to crane their neck here, but then you're just doing a disservice to a lot of those muscles in your upper shoulders and neck being used to keep yourself there, and it's just causing you a lot of unnecessary stress. If you have difficulty with this stretch, as we switch sides, what you could do is instead of reaching through and grabbing my leg, I can use my band. So I've crossed my right leg over my left, and now I have my band going through my left leg, and now I'm pulling my left leg towards my chest by using this band. This makes it a little easier for people who just lack that mobility to do a figure four without any equipment. And again, this is always a good time just to practice that deep breathing. You know, deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Activate that parasympathetic nervous system, that rest and digest nervous system. So this is where we'll grab those pillows. I have them on my left side. So what's going to happen is I'm going to take my right leg, I'm crossing it over, resting that on the pillows. Left leg stays straight, and then with my right arm, I come over, I close the book, I open the book. Try to keep your arm in line with your shoulder, and keep your eyes on the moving hand. And by keeping your eyes on the moving hand, we're moving our cervical spine at the same rate as our thoracic spine, which means we're moving all as one unit. We're not going to get any of that tightness because we're not moving our neck appropriately. Really great stretch, really great dynamic movement for that T-spine that stays rigid most of the day. You don't do a lot of twisting in your day. We'll switch sides. But it also opens up the chest a lot. And I know for myself, that's a tight area. So we're going to take our left leg now, cross it over to our right side. I'll just show you what this looks like from a different angle here. Knee is just resting on the pillows. And then my left arm comes, I close the book, I open the book, keeping my eyes on the moving hand the whole time. And just go through your range of motion on this too. Like if you're not able to get to the floor and this is your range of motion, that's fine. Just move through your range of motion. maybe that's your range of motion on rep, 2 or 3, and then maybe you can go a little further. And then maybe that's as far as you can go, even with a little bit of warm-up. It's okay not to reach the ground. You can even put another couch cushion or pillow over there if you're having difficulty opening up. You feel like you're going too far. Again, we always just want to feel that 6 out of 10 stretch. So 10, the muscles being torn apart. 1 is no stretch at all. Okay, so we'll go to our band hamstring. So I'm going to get those out of the way. Again, you could be using a towel for this if you don't have a resistance band. I just find resistance bands are easier because there's a little bit more give to them, which gives you a little bit more slack, makes it a little easier for you. So I have the band on my left foot. My right foot is straight. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to lift up, keeping my toes pointed towards the shin. And then don't allow your right leg to raise up. Try to keep your right leg straight the whole time too. And again, maybe as you move through, you can move a little higher. I'm not going super high because my hamstrings are very tight right now. And I'm just going to that 6 out of 10 stretch. Okay, and this time we're going to go up, but we're not going to go down. We're going to go to the side. I should move those pillows out a little further. That's okay. To the side. You can feel how this migrates the stretch. You might be feeling a little bit more in the groin, but you're actually targeting one of those different hamstring muscles as well. And then now we'll go across. So as I go across, I might not be getting the same level of distance. Try to keep, so I have my left leg going, try to keep your left shoulder on the ground. Your left hip can come off the ground, but try to keep that left shoulder off the ground. Keep that leg straight, toe pointed towards the shin. Again, your range of motion might not be too great on this one, like mine. I'm not saying mine's great. I'm saying it's not great like mine. That's okay. Just move through that. Move through your range of motion. Get that stretch. Wait, I'm not kicking my cat. So we switch sides. I have it on my right foot now. Toe pointed towards the shin. Left leg is straight and on the ground. Right leg is straight. Toe pointed towards the shin. And then I just lift comfortably. Feel that 6 out of 10 stretch. And again, we discussed this in a previous video, but why we're doing dynamic stretches over static stretches today is for the simple fact that a lot of you are staying still all day, not getting a lot of movement. So what a dynamic stretch allows you to do, and we'll go to the outside now, is get a little bit of movement, but it's also easier on the muscles for you to go through a dynamic series of movements and not static because your muscles aren't warmed up yet. Now you can do static stretching cold, but it's better to do dynamic stretching cold than static stretches. And we'll go across again. I'm crossing to the left side of my body, but my right shoulder is staying on the ground. Right leg stays straight. Head stays on the ground too. And this is where the band really helps over the towel, is the towel makes it a little difficult to have that give across the body. All right. So this is the more challenging of the movements. This is the dynamic pigeon. Again, if you want to do something a little easier, I would do it from the chair. But essentially, we go into our high plank position. I'm going to cross my left leg in front, touch my right knee down, forearms down. This is where you can stop and switch. Or you can go down to the forearms, up, kick that leg back into the high plank, switch sides. Touch that back knee down. You can go to the forearms. It is a little more challenging, and then we just switch. If you don't want to go to the forearms, it's just knee down, switch. All right. And you can hold it too. You can hold it for, 3 seconds. Whatever feels comfortable for you. You got to sort of feel this out for yourself and see, listen to your body. What do you need right now? Do you need to hold this for a couple seconds? Get up and move. Now that we've done sort of the figure 4, which was a static stretch at the beginning, we can hold this a little bit more. But I like to get that movement in for all the reasons listed before, just to give you a little bit more movement in your day, get the synovial fluid into the joints. And we'll do one more here on each side. All right. We can kick this back. We have our child's to Cobra. So essentially for this, real easy. We just push our hips back, hands forward, and then on our breath, we straighten our legs, push our hips into the ground, lift our chest up. All right? And again, just move through your own natural pace here. Get a good stretch through the back on this. And then as we switch to the Cobra, we get to stretch out our front, our abdomen. Again, hold each pose as long as you want. I just sort of go on my breath cycle for this. Okay, and we'll go into our cat to cow here. So hands under shoulders, knees under hips. I arch my spine up, tuck my chin in, and then as I breathe in, bring my spine to neutral, looking forward. I breathe out, go into that cat. And in again. So again, I always preach how good this one is for your cervical spine. Obviously, it targets the thoracic spine as well, but it's amazing how much harm we do to our cervical spine throughout the day with just our daily activities. I won't say harm. We do a lot of disservice to it with our neck muscles getting tight and thus having an impact on our cervical spine. So this is where you might want something to kneel on. I have my right knee down, left leg forward. I'm going to push my hips forward so my spine is nice and tall. My hips are neutral, like a bucket that's not going to spill water. And I bring my right arm up in line with my ear. And again, we can make this dynamic by just pushing our hips back and opening up forward again. Yeah, just take your time through this one. You don't need to be going as fast or as slow as me. You go at your own pace, what's comfortable for you. Switch sides. I'm going my left knee on the pillow, right leg is forward. I push my hips forward so I have that flat bucket. If you imagine your hips as a bucket, we don't want it to spill any water on this one. So I push my hips forward. I bring my left arm in line with my ear. And then if I want to make it dynamic, I can just move through this. You don't have to make it dynamic either. You can just hold and hang out here, whatever works best for you. But I know some people are just doing a lot more sitting right now, and any bit of added movement is going to make them feel a lot better. All right, we'll do one more here, and then we're standing for the rest of it. So we have our forward fold to our overhead lean. You know, I throw this one in a lot just because it's just such a nice exercise. Push our hips back, crawling our hands in front of our legs, just so that we feel that 6 out of 10 hamstring stretch. Again, I'm feeling a little tighter than normal today, so my 6 out of 10 is a little bit more shallow. And then as I stand up, I'm going to pull back on my left fingers, arms overhead, hips to the left, lean to the right, hips to the right, lean to the left. All right, so we're going to do that 3 more times. Each time switching up the forearm stretch. This time pulling back on the right fingers, arms overhead. Same thing, hips to the left, lean to the right. Hips to the right, lean to the left. 2 more. Again, take your time breathing, moving through this. You might get a little deeper in your forward fold. This time I'm pushing down on my left fingers, right? Arms overhead. If you find that you get a very large stretch through some of these forearm exercises, you might want to look, and this time pushing down the right fingers, you might want to look at your keyboard and mouse setup, or you know, wherever you're working that setup, to check how your wrists and your forearms are aligned to make sure that you're not getting just unnecessary tightness there. So side lean to with shoulder stretch, so I'm going to take an exaggerated step to the right, push my hips to the right, left leg stays straight. I bring my left shoulder across my body, right arm underneath, and then I just try to hug my left elbow to my right shoulder, all while keeping that hip pushed to the right, left leg straight. So really big combo stretch here. And again, we can move through this. Can't move through so much the shoulder one unless you sort of relax and tense up again, or relax and stretch a little bit more. Switch sides. I'm going to take an exaggerated step to the left now. Push my hips to the left. Right leg stays straight. Right arm comes across. Yeah, we can move through this one if you want, or you can just hold, whatever your preference is. If you do find yourself doing more of the dynamic movement, you can probably feel a little bit of a strengthening activity in your left leg right now. That's okay. It's okay to add those throughout your day. We'll go into our handcuff stretch. So essentially I'm going to handcuff myself behind my back, and then I'm just going to pull my shoulders back and down. Just checking how we're doing on time. Going a little over today, that's okay. It's important to stretch. Yeah, just pulling those shoulders back and down, have that nice proud Superman chest. And then we'll switch sides. Just grabbing the other wrist now. So while we're doing this one, I also want to talk, while it is important to stretch, we also want to make sure that we're doing strengthening activities, especially if we're sitting for a long period of time, because those muscles are getting tight, but they're also getting weak, because you don't need to use a lot of muscles to sit down, surprisingly. And then we'll just go to our upper trap neck stretch. So right ear to right shoulder. Left arm, I'm pulling down behind the back. Yeah, we don't hold this one for too long, maybe 10 seconds. Just because those muscles are so tight, they're also very tiny. And we'll switch sides. And we'll just sort of shake it out. Do a couple arm swings. a couple standing twists, whatever you need to do to sort of feel loose, feel limber, feel like you're reset. I hope you enjoyed that stretch with Dave. I will see you in the next one. Have a wonderful day. And remember to keep moving.